In this video, we're going to change out the factory grill in my 2022 Tundra to the TRD Pro Heritage Grill. All right, so I have the 22 Tundra. It's the Platinum Edition, and it does have a camera in the front, and I'm going to change out this grill to the TRD Pro Heritage Grill. So I'll leave a link in the description to the grill. I got it for less than $200. If you have a camera in the front, you're gonna need a different bracket. I'll also leave a link in the description to that bracket I sell on my Etsy shop. First thing we need to do is open the hood. We do that by pulling the lever inside. All right, so there's a latch right here. We'll push it over to the left and it opens the grill. The very first thing you're gonna need is a 10mm socket. Every bolt we're gonna use on here is a 10mm. So we're gonna remove the top 4 bolts underneath the hood. Next, we're gonna remove the wires from both sides. My Platinum has 2 wires on each side. So we'll disconnect the 2 wires on the left side facing the grill. And then we'll disconnect the 2 wires on the right side facing the grill. Underneath those wires, we're gonna have a push pin. You'll snap that up. That's gonna be under the left side, and it'll also be under the right side. Set these aside so you don't lose them. Starting on the driver's side, we're gonna remove the 4 bolts from the fender flare that will allow us access to the tabs behind it. These are all 10mm. I set a piece of paper down and I put the bolts and what they go to and drew a circle around them and draw the writing of what they were. This is a good way to not lose what bolts go to where. Now we're back on the passenger side, removing the 4 bolts from the fender flare. This is just starting from the bottom floor, and this will give us access to the clips behind that. After spending $60K on a vehicle, this part is a little nerve-wracking. We're going to pull the bottom half of the fender flare out to get access to the tabs. Gently pull starting on one end, working your way up and remove the tabs. And we're going to get behind the front panel here and push from behind to remove the tabs. You'll get that whole right side will start to release. Now we move it over to the other side, the passenger side. We're working the exact same thing, trying to gently pull those tabs loose, the bottom half of the fender flare. And then that whole left side will start to come out. I put my hand behind it and pushed from behind. I thought that was the easiest way to get these tabs loose from that left side of the grill. Next, we're going underneath the truck. So we got 4 bolts underneath the bumper down low. These are again 10mm. And we need to remove these 4. I'm using the new DeWalt 12-volt ratchet. I definitely recommend it. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to pick that up first. Makes this job a whole lot easier. These next 4 bolts are the hardest ones to get at. They are behind the grill shutter, kind of right in the middle. You have 3 options. You can come from above, below, or use a really long ratchet extension and go through. I first chose below from the driver's side, and that turned out okay. And then I came from above for the passenger side, 2 bolts, and they were equally okay. So the choice is yours. Here I am reaching down from above, getting those 2 on the passenger side. Make sure these don't drop to the ground and you lose them. And after that, you should be able to gently pull the front end grill assembly off your vehicle. If you have a friend, definitely helps to have them carry it with you. Next, we're going to remove the 6 bolts. Again, these are 10mm from the active grill shutter, and this will allow us to get that piece off. We need to disassemble the wiring and just remove the clip here so we can take the grill shutter off. front-facing camera is next. We're going to remove the 2 bolts holding the bracket. Again, this is a platinum grill. It may look different for yours, or you may not have a camera. If you bought a grill assembly or my bracket for the TRD Pro, do not throw these bolts away. You're going to reuse these. Now we can pull the whole bracket out of the grill, and we'll disconnect the camera with the clip. A quick tip to remember when you're going to reinstall this, the wording will face the hood, so that will face up. Now disconnect the wiring from the safety sensor, and we're going to remove every single Phillips head bolt holding this whole grill subassembly together. There is a lot, probably like 22. I'm going to show you 2. Here's the absolutely most frustrating part of this whole disassembly, is all of these tabs. There are a ton, probably like 50 in total. If you have a friend, this is the time to have them help you. My tip, work from one side to the other. The camera uses a T6 bolt. Again, you're going to reuse these in your other camera mount, so do not lose them. You're going to need a T6, and I had this little set from iFixit. I'll leave a link in the description. Once you loosen those clips up top, you can see I pulled the frame assembly off, and now I have access to the upper mustache part. We moved on to remove the sensors from the left and right side, because not only am I removing the grill, I'm also going to paint the mustache. I'm going to do that flat black to match the TRD grill, and my truck is also black, so I like that blackout look. Each side wing part has 5 screws. We will remove those, and that will gain access to the 2 side pieces of the mustache, and you'll pull the clips out again. Most frustrating part, took the longest, but getting that mustache off, super satisfying. Here's my upper mustache. I'm gonna go paint this. Next, we're gonna remove all of these little clips in the lower half of the grill to pull that grill subassembly out. I definitely suggest using these plastic car automotive tools. They definitely help and don't scratch anything up. I'll leave a link in the description. This is the part where 2 people made it much easier. We got the side mustache piece, the left side, and then we worked back and got the right side, and I painted that. The bottom plate that says Tundra, take that off before you take off the grill. It would have been easier, but either way, we got the grill out. Now we're going to take the 2 bolts holding in the sensor out, and then the 1 screw, and we'll remove the sensor. We'll need this for our other grill. Also, it has 2 of these metal washer-like things behind it. We need to use those because nothing comes with the grill part. Finally, we have the sensor cover. This is a little weird and tricky to get out, but work on it, you'll pop it out. Here we go. There's the old grill, and there's the TRD Heritage grill. We're going to put that back in its place. You did the toughest part, so here it is. We're just going to go straight up in reverse in every way. We're going to pop that safety cover in, the 2 metal bolt holders, and then the screw and 2 bolts holding the safety sensor in. Here's where I slid the new grill into where the grill sits. We're gonna go ahead and push the clips in for this grill. Don't forget about these little bolt holders here. I flipped it over and then I put in this Tundra piece. It was much easier to put in from above than coming in from below. So I'll put that back. That holds the lower half in. Now we're popping in both sides of the mustache. You can see that's now flat black. Did a little plasti dip. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. So that's the left and the right side are on. Then finally the mustache can get popped back in. I really like this look. I think it matches everything really well. So once you get those clips back in, flip her over, and we're gonna work from the back side. Now we'll plug the safety sensor back in. Then this little arm piece that attaches the 4 bolts in the center, those just push in and clip in. And finally, we're gonna attach my 3D printed mount. You'll definitely need this if you have the camera. We're gonna put the 2 little T6 Torx screws in, These are hard because they're really tiny. But you can find that link down in the description below to my Etsy to grab this camera mount. Definitely need that. Then it will sit right in here like so. A perfect fit. Then we'll replace the 2 silver screws. Make sure not to over tighten these or you'll crack the plastic. So do this gentle. And here you'll notice the camera in its default configuration, at least for the Platinum, cannot reach the plug. So we're gonna have to disconnect one of these white holders and it will give us enough slack to go in here. I haven't found the exact perfect way to put this back on, but I did zip tie down here to kind of hold it in place and give it a little bit of relief from tugging. Now I just placed the grille shutter back in place. It's got some little pegs that they line up. Real easy installation. And then I stuck the sides on. Be careful of that little wire for the sensor. We're screwing in the 5 screws on all the sides to put that back into place. Again, don't over tighten this or you'll strip it out. I just did the driver's side and the passenger side right after. Once you get the wings on, I plugged back the sensors on both side panels. Don't forget these or your truck will light up like Christmas. And then we have those 22 or so screws going around the entire grille, holding everything together. Get a buddy to help you. It'll cut the time in half. And we're back to the paper. It goes to the grille shutter. This is where it's super helpful. And these were the 6 10 millimeter bolts that hold the grille shutter to the grille. Don't forget to connect the grille shutter to the other connector. And now it's time to bring that huge grill back over and pop it right back into place. This is where a second hand is so helpful so you don't scratch anything going up there. Once you get it up, just push it in till everything kind of clips back in. It's really the only way to tell you how to do it. It's more by feel. So we got one side clipped in. Then I pushed the fender flare clips back in, and then I worked the left side doing the exact same thing. Working that, and then make sure the carpet area comes on the outside, and then push the fender flares all together to where they lock in, and replace these 4 bolts that were down in the center. These are a little tricky, but I did it this time from above. Time to crawl back under the truck one last time, and we can replace these 4 10 millimeter bolts from underneath, holding that grill on. Back at the driver's side fender flare, we're going to put those 4 bolts back in. These are one of those you want to over tighten again because it's going into plastic and it's going to strip it out if you do it too much. These were a little tricky to align because you have to go through the carpet, through one side of the fender flare and into the other plastic. Take your time, you'll get it lined up. So I did the passenger side and the driver's side at this point. Almost done. Putting those 2 pins back in and locking them into place, and then reconnecting the 2 wires on both sides. This will finish up all of the wiring. And finally, the 4 upper bolts, the first ones you took out when you started this process. Congrats, you just finished her up. Close the hood and get ready to rock.
All right guys, so there it is. The TRD Pro grill is now installed in my Platinum
22 Toyota Tundra. Tell me what you think in a comment down below. Did it improve it, or did you like the look of the Platinum Grille better? There are two things that are obviously missing. One, the light bar is missing, and the 3 yellow marker lights. As of right now, while I'm filming this, they don't exist for me to buy. There's a few that came out on AliExpress that are kind of not really great. I'm waiting for the official part or a better third-party option to fill those. Even without, I still really like the look. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one, and happy driving.